Mendel and Inheritance. What is heredity? Heredity is when certain traits are passed from the parents to the children. Traits are characteristics such as eye color, height, and athletic ability. Heredity is passed through genes in the DNA molecule. In biology, the study of heredity is called genetics. Gregor Mendel. Scientist Gregor Mendel, 1822 to 1884, is considered the father of the science of genetics. Through experimentation, he found that certain traits were inherited following specific patterns. Gregor studied inheritance by experimenting with peas in his garden. Peas work as an excellent test subject as they can self-pollinate, cross-fertilize, or cross-pollinate, and have several traits that only have two forms. This enabled Mendel to easily control his experiments and reduce the possibility of the outcomes to something he could record and manage. Mendel's experiments. Gregor studied 7 traits of the pea plant: seed color, seed shape, flower position, flower color, pod shape, pod color, and the stem length. There are 3 major steps to Mendel's experiments. 1. First, he produced a parent generation of true breeding plants. He made these by self-fertilizing the plants until he knew they bred true to the 7 traits. For example, the purple flowering plants always produced seeds that made purple flowers. He called these plants the pea generation for parent. 2. Next, he produced a second generation of plants, F1, by breeding 2 different true breeding pea plants. 3. He then produced a third generation of plants, F2, by pollinating 2 F1 generation plants together that had the same traits. Mendel's results. Mendel found some incredible results from his experiments. F1 generation. Mendel found that the F1 generation all produced the same trait. Even though the 2 parents had different traits, the offspring always had the same trait. For example, if he bred a pea plant with a purple flower and a pea plant with a white flower, all the offspring from the F1 generation plants would have purple flowers. This is because the purple flower is the dominant trait. These results can be shown in a diagram called a Punnett square. The dominant gene is shown with a capital letter and the recessive gene with a lowercase letter. Here, the purple is the dominant gene, shown with a P, and the white is the recessive gene, shown with a W. F2 generation. In the F2 generation, he found that 75% of the flowers were purple and 25% were white. Even though both parents had purple flowers, 25% of the offspring had white flowers. This turned out to be because of a recessive gene or trait was present in both parents. Here is the Punnett square showing that 25% of the offspring had 2 W genes, causing them to have white flowers. Homozygous and heterozygous. When 2 of the genes are the same, like with PP, big P, or little w above, they are called homozygous. When they are different, like with PW, they are called heterozygous. Interesting facts about Mendel and inheritance. Mendel's work was rejected by his fellow scientists while he was alive. It wasn't until later that his work was rediscovered and confirmed through further experimentation. Mendel was a monk and performed his experiments in the monastery garden. His experimentation largely ended when he was promoted to abbot. Mendel also ran experiments with honeybees, but found them much more difficult to experiment with. The idea that an offspring receives 1 unit of inheritance from each parent is called the theory of segregation.